Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com where music comes to life. And my guest today is one of my favorites. He's making his fourth trip to the site. He's about to release his third solo record since 2021. The record is called Soulbound, and it's out everywhere on February 28th. Please welcome the legend that is Robin McAuley. Welcome back, Robin.
Jeff Gaudiosi, thanks for having me back. How are you, man?
Good, it's always a pleasure. And now, as we said, Soulbound, it's your third solo record in the past few years, with the same group of Italian musicians led by Aldo Lenobile. And to me, this record starts to sound more like a band.
Yep.
The music is more naturally tailored to your voice. And do you feel like the comfort level is increased between you and Aldo as these records go on?
Absolutely. First and foremost, we started out kind of similar to Standing on the Edge and Alive with Alessandro Del Vecchio
Mhm.
doing the co-writing. We Andrea Silveso, who played guitar on the first two records, always loved him, loved his tone, uh, loved his melodies. So it was really important for me on this one that I was going to sort of push him a little bit more to the front, and I wanted him more on the attack. So he's much more involved in the writing this time. Then Alessandro leaves the label,
Mhm.
and I was introduced to Aldo. Aldo came in and we had our chat, and I really want to get more guitar oriented on this, and we put keys where we need them, but
Mhm.
if we don't need them, we won't. And then he added Alfonso Mussorino on drums this time,
Mhm.
who's an absolute powerhouse from Milan. And then he also introduced another guitar player, Alessandro Mamola. And he's featured a lot on it. And of course, Aldo is a great guitar player,
Yeah.
great bass player. So now I have plenty of dishes in the sink, and I'm having a blast.
Mhm.
And so we got into the writing, we got into the song selection. I had actually selected the entire record. Aldo came in and he said, you know, I'm here now. Let's rethink this. And so he suggested four or five. I think he actually sent me about six different songs, and I
Mhm.
think we picked. I'm going to say four, maybe three or four out of that batch. Some I rewrote. Soulbound was written by Teresa Persson and Jan Ackerson, two Swedish writers.
Mhm.
Um, and I just re-sang the demo to make it more sound like my kind of song. And I loved the title, and I went, I'm going to go with this. If everybody likes it, and they went, we love this. This is great. Artwork is awesome. Again, Nello Del Olmo. Third time I've worked with Nello. He's like he's inside my head. And so I'm really happy to answer your question. So it's
Yeah.
a very powerful band, and finally I will get to actually have all of those guys with me at the Frontiers Music Festival. April 27th will be my day, the last day of the 3-day festival in Milan. So get your tickets now.
Oh, I wish, my friend, I
Yeah.
wish.
I'm really, really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Now, have you had a chance when you guys put this together? Is it all done remotely? Because again, you're here in California, they're over in Italy. Do you guys ever get together for parts of it, or is the whole thing done remote?
It's everything's remote. It's an amazing thing. People were asking me actually earlier this morning, don't you miss the old days of, now that you have the internet and everything's media is more
Mm.
accessible, don't you miss the sort of touchy-feely, the
Mm.
tangible? And I went, nothing like going to the old record store and
Mm.
sifting through the shelves for all of those, smelly vinyls
Yeah.
and CDs and all of that sort of stuff. And going there was an outing.
Mm.
And yeah, you miss that. Not unlike the recording process, they dump a bunch of stuff on my laptop.
Mm.
I pick it up, I open each little package. Um, but there's no touchy feely involved. It's
Mhm.
it's like you do it. I work with the same engineer as I always do, Andy Zuckerman. And
Yeah.
a funny thing with Andy is, he gets all of the stems for him to record my vocals. And I go to Andy, and he has absolutely no idea what it is that I'm going to be singing when unless I send him a demo,
Mm.
which I sometimes do, and sometimes I'm going, shh, I forgot to send you the demo. So then you got to sing through the track, you mark it up, and so he goes, well, there's the verse, and there's the pre-chorus, and so it's kind of funny, but we get it done,
Mm.
and we're set up. We know the mics that I'm going to use, and then we send it across the universe, and it lands either in Naples or Milan, and Aldo picks it up, and he goes, "Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Let me have a list."
Mm.
um, we've been doing it for years,
Yeah.
so of course it works. Of course it works. It's super easy. Um, you don't have to get in a plane and go there with the masters and set it up on an analog machine.
Well, and I think people have gotten used to it too, because I think if you go back to, when the pandemic first hit, 2020,
Yeah,
2021, again, some of those records that everyone was putting out just sound a little disjointed.
yeah,
Whereas I think now everyone is used to it, so you can't tell if it was all done together or done
yeah,
separately.
yeah. I mean, by contrast, with my Black Swan stuff,
Mhm.
segue, there is a third Black Swan
Yeah.
coming.
We'll talk
And
about that. Yeah.
we'll talk about that. That is much more personable because I
Mhm.
get to go to the studio, I get to hang with Jeff, I
Mhm.
get to hang with Reb, we get to work it together. And yes, after the job's done, we send the digital files out and we make little changes, and I go back and make the changes and that sort of stuff. So there's more of a connection there. On a solo level, it's a very lonely life. It's just me and the microphone, and I sit and I write the songs and I send them back and I wait for a comment, and they pretty much let me do my thing, which is it's good and bad. I mean, it allows me to do and put my stamp on the solo stuff, and it definitely sounds different than the like the Black Swan stuff,
Mhm.
or if I did an MSG track or something, because there's much more involved with that. So, yes, I love it, and yes, I hate it sometimes. You know.
Yeah. Now, between these three records, the two Black Swans that are out and the one you're working on, you have done so much recording in the past 5 years, and you're sounding better than ever. I mean, do you
Oh,
feel
thanks,
your
Jeff.
voice gets stronger the more you use it?
Well, it's a muscle.
Mm.
It's a muscle. And runners run because the more they do, the more uh, in good shape they are. They have to be careful because, like everything else, you know, it's brittle. It can
Mm.
break. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to do to stay on top of your game, as it were. Not easy. It's a complete pain in the butt for me because it's like I'm thinking, the guitar players have so
Yeah.
much more fun. So do the drummers. They can have a cold. They
Yeah.
can be feeling like, crappy from the night before. And they can still just get up there and
Mm.
do it. And the singer, he complains, like,
Mm.
singers.
Mm.
So, and my wife would attest to it. I put a huge amount of pressure on
Mm.
myself because it's the only real acoustic instrument on stage.
Mm.
And it, I use my in-ears and all of that sort of stuff. It has to be in the right place to it's not the battle of the bands, it's the battle of the guitar players.
Yeah. Mm.
um, but we make it work. I take great care of it. I do everything that I possibly can um, from one night to the next.
Mm.
And, you're always in a panic. Is it there? Is it as good as I want it to be? And then you have to open your mouth and start singing, and people go, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And I just came back from Sweden last week. I did a show in Sweden. I'm going back to Sweden. I have a bunch of shows lined up, already advertised for the UK. Germany is coming up on the bill, Spain,
Mm.
and I will perform the Monsters of Rock cruise with
Yes.
Michael Schenker on March 10 through 15.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel pretty good.
Mm.
You know, I'm 72 now. No, but I don't have a walker yet. I've got plenty of tennis balls in case
Still going.
So you know what you got to do. I love it. I still love it. Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm not ready yet. If that's okay.
One of my favorite parts of when you and I get to talk is talking about your lyrics. I love your lyrics. I think you're one of the most underrated
Oh,
lyricists in the genre. And one of my favorite things is kind of bringing one track to you and getting your story behind it. And
oh,
on this record, on Soulbound, the track that really grabbed me is the last song on the record, There Was a Man. Talk to me a little bit about where that one came from.
well, there was a man. There was a man, and it depends which side of the fence you're sitting on.
Mhm,
Um, I kind of felt it was an appropriate track to close out
mhm,
the record with. Um, I don't, I'm not on a pedestal. I have nothing to tell anybody. I just tell myself. When I listen, when I listen to the music that's given to me, I have zero idea where it's going to go.
mhm,
I mean, zero. I don't have a book of unused lyrics, unused words. Um, I don't have any of that. So everything happens in the moment. And I can sit down with a piece of music and I really have to spend a lot of time with it, listening to what the guitar players are doing, the bass players doing, what are those little nuances that are in the song. And it's like a really blank. It's
mhm,
completely blank in here. And I'm going, I have no idea what to do with it.
mhm,
And the more I listen, the more the song will tell me
mhm,
what to do. And sometimes just a chord structure that's in there will shoot out a name,
mhm,
give me a title. And that's what happened on There Was a Man. And it seemed so appropriate. And I just started writing basically about where I am in life
mhm,
and why am I here and what did I do to get here and who did I meet along the way. It's an old story.
yeah,
It's a very old story, and I just write my sort of take on it. Um, and thankful and grateful, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
mhm,
I was a man, and because of that man, that's important to me. It's where I am today, and I have a family, and I have a life, and I have all of the rest. Very simple for me. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's basically, you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
And
we
that's
get
kind
it.
of what it is. Some things are super, super, super important to me. And I'm always a little um, cautious
Mhm,
about whether I put those down in words. People go, "Oh, there we go.
mhm,
There he goes." And I
yeah,
don't want to be there he goes. It's just if you take and get something from it,
mhm.
my job is a good job. If it's something you completely do not relate to, but you like the music, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay too. Yeah.
Well,
So that's really what it is. It's just a little story about, me
mm,
getting to where I am because of
mm. Well, and
something
I've
or
said a
someone.
million times in interviews, I love talking about lyrics, that you could write something that's just so personal to you, but yet a good lyricist takes that personal issue and makes it so that everyone finds themselves in it.
And that's
And
the
I
key.
think that's what you do. That's what happened to me in this song as well.
Yeah, that's key. That's always key for me because I set out with my thought process. And then I put it down and I'll change it as I go. And I'm
Mm,
going, now you're preaching. And I'll do that. And then I'll start to shift the tone a little bit,
mm,
where it's still, I still follow the path, if you'll excuse the expression.
yeah,
I still follow that path of train of thought, but then I open many different doors. I'm
mhm,
going, you can take it this way, you can do that. And again, um, I do find people say, oh my God, this means this to me.
mm,
And this means that to me. I can't believe when I heard this that I was
mm,
like, oh my God, that's exactly where I was. And so then you find all of these little avenues and doors, and you're going, wow, who was it that said, the pen is mightier than
Mhm.
the sword, and I'm going, whoa, careful, it's yeah, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, very.
It's a powerful thing.
And now you mentioned a little while back all the shows you have coming up, and you mentioned a whole mess of countries except the US. Any chance of seeing you do some
I've
solo
been getting it
shows
in
in
the
the
neck.
US?
I've been getting it in the neck since the UK dates went up, and it goes, "Oh, what do we chop liver here, dude?" So, my answer to that is, of course, yes, yes, is yes. Ideally, yes. What I need to happen is through your wonderful show, is the UK shows happened because I did Firefest Festival in Manchester. I headlined it in October. And how that came about was the promoter said, "Hey, I've seen MSG now for the last blah, 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 and I don't hear any Macaulay Schenker songs. And we want to hear Macaulay Schenker songs, and I have a bunch of fans that want to hear Macaulay Schenker songs. Will you do a show where we get two-thirds of the show or more Macaulay Schenker songs that we don't hear on a regular MSG show?" And I went, okay, I got to do some homework because I haven't sang them in years, right? And so off we went. And since Firefest, there's a plethora of promoters in Europe. This is how the Swedish gig happened, and now they invited me back for another festival. Um, and they want to hear those songs. So what needs to happen is a UK promoter or a US promoter going,
Mhm.
we'd like to hear those songs too.
Yeah.
And it's real easy to get hold of me.
We
and
know
so
where to find you.
there needs to be an interest,
Yeah.
obviously, because I can come up with a whole bunch of dates and people go, "Well,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't make it." So that's it's logistics, it's supply and
Mhm.
demand. That's really what it is. So yes, yes, of course, I want to play US shows, and we will work on it and see what the interest level uh, is, where it's at, and maybe we come to a town near you.
Yeah. And we talked a bit earlier about the Black Swan record. So I've
Yes.
seen all of the guys posting their various parts, working on it.
Good man, Jeff. You're watching.
Yeah, when can we expect to see the record?
Um, Excellent question. When I was with Jeff, Jeff says, "Hey, maybe we can make March," and I'm going, "Isn't it March already?"
Yeah.
Um, so probably not March. I would imagine, um, sort of the third quarter of the
Mhm.
year. I would imagine
Yeah.
that would kind of make more sense because everything has to go into place. I know Matt started recording drums already. He's
Mhm.
not done. Foreigner's really busy, so
Yeah.
Jeff's busy. Um, Je Winger's Reb's done all his playing,
Mhm.
and may I just tell you ahead of not too many giveaways. He is just killing it. It's just, I think it's great. I think it's good. You walk into it and you go,
Yeah.
are we doing it? Is this good? Is it, Um, I think it's a great record. I
Mhm.
think yeah, I think it's a great record. Some great tunes on there, and there's just some awesome playing on there.
Mhm.
So I would think, uh, kind of like the third quarter would be good. Reb's
Nice.
going with Winger doing a bunch of shows. I
Yeah.
will actually hopefully see him on the Frontiers Festival come
Mhm.
April. So I'm sure we'll be chinwag.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll be going, well, now, and Matt's going to be there. So Matt's already made a comment. Let me think. I'm there. You're there. Reb's there. How do we get Pilsen here and pull this off? So, yeah, who knows? Who
Fingers
knows?
crossed.
Who knows?
And again, with all that you have going on with the solo records, with Black Swan, with the Schenker Fest tours and things like that, do you find that the success either you appreciate or it means more to you now than it did way back when? Is it a different approach?
Ooh, success. There's a big word.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm successful. I'm successful in so much as I can keep doing what I love to
Mhm.
do. That's success for me. Monetarily, I'm not so
Yeah,
sure.
well, yeah, I mean more
Um,
the art than,
Definitely
no,
the
none
art.
of us are making any money
No,
off of this. So,
the art of the art is great.
yeah.
I'm loving the fact that we can still create
Mm,
new music.
yeah.
That's just great. That's just great because you think, how deep is that hole? What else is down there? Haven't we done this before? All of that sort of stuff. And that's always a big question, how do I make this different?
Mm,
What do I do this different? And some people um, on the live front actually don't want you to do anything different.
yeah.
They just don't. I've tried several different things. I'm working on several different other
Mm,
non-typical projects. Um, and there's always somebody who goes,
mm,
I like it better when you're doing the other
yeah.
stuff. So somebody just won't let you wear that cap, that different jacket.
Mm,
um but the fact that there are those opportunities available is pretty awesome,
mm,
especially at my age, that I can uh get up and look forward to going out and jumping on a plane and going and doing a show because somebody wants it. That's I mean
mm,
I feel pretty special. I
yeah.
feel very blessed by the whole thing. And as long as that continues to happen and I stay well, I think we can dig into that bag and find more music. And I think that's great.
Mm,
Yeah, I appreciate it all. It's awesome.
mm.
It's awesome.
Well, we've been spending some time here with Robin McAuley. The record is called Soulbound. It's out everywhere on February 28th. We have a Black Swan record following later on in the year. Thank you so much, Robin. Best of luck with this record and best of luck with the shows coming up in Europe.
Thank you very much, Jeff. You're my hero. Thanks. Have a great Monday. It's Wednesday, isn't it? You see, I
Yeah,
lost my day. It's
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yes, it's almost Thursday. Thank you
We'll
so
talk
much. Good to
soon.
see you again.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.